Hey everybody, and thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be giving you a quick review on the Klarstein 3XL Mundschenk home brewing kettle, which I've just purchased and just put through its boil test today. I noticed that there wasn't a whole lot of internet traffic about this unit, and I figured it needed a little bit of a review for those who were going through the same kind of tortured purchasing process I did. Let's do a little walk around here. You can see it's got clips that hold the lid down. The lid itself, I'll show you in a second. It's an all stainless steel construction unit. It takes, the one I bought was a 240 volt. I live just south of Munich, so it's on European power. The bottom is completely vented, as you can see, and it's got, of course, double strong carry handles. The pump arm, the tube that reaches up to the sparging arm, is full stainless. It's not clear, so it's nice and strong. Don't have to worry about breaking glass or anything there. There are two electric circuits here. One controls the pump, and one controls the PCB, the circuit board. The pump is audible, not oppressively so, but it is audible. Vibration can be felt quite a ways off. But the heater inside the unit is controlled by the circuitry. It goes from 100 to 3000 watts. The lid you can see here is stainless. It's not clear like some other units, but really you don't need it that much. I did buy a neoprene jacket here which secures around the pump pipe. I really think this is a necessary item. While we do some of the boiling tests here, I'm going to be cleaning off my old immersion chiller. And we'll run from 0 to 50, 50 to 65, then 65 to a boil when we're all done. Let's look at some of the goodies that came with it. Actually, let's look at them all. First off, the mash basket here with 3 levels of draining brackets for raising out of the wort without breaking your back. Be aware this unit is tall. Raising that basket fully while it's completely wet is going to be heavy. So be careful. Don't strain yourself. Don't hurt yourself pulling that out. Most importantly, make use of those little ledges. You want to lift, drain, lift, drain, lift, drain. You don't want to risk a spill or hurting yourself. So again, stainless like everything else. Let's see here. What's next? Sparging arm. It's got a little neoprene cover to protect your fingers. It's complete solid steel. Doesn't come with a hose, but it's a 12mm exterior, so you can pick up some standard fitting hose for that. It also fits really, really nicely in the top of the pipe. Or sorry, the top of the pump pipe. Alright, then we've got the interior of the mash basket. You've got both the top and the bottom filters. Really cool little feature here is telescoping mash pipe. This thing can squidge down and up to fit your grains. Otherwise, it's just a threaded hollow tube, but really easy to deal with. This was a cool little feature. It's a filter that goes on the ball valve external, or sorry, the ball valve internal to keep particulate matter from escaping into your fermenter. Yeah, I thought that was really convenient. Let's see here. Okay, handle for the mash basket, standard. It fits pretty loose, but otherwise is okay. This is the cap for the mash pipe. You just drop it in the top when you're going to dump your grain in. All is well. Keeps it out of the pump and out of the drainage. Now I'm not quite sure what this little silicone elbow is for. I'm sure it's got some use, but I just haven't figured it out yet. Next we got bottom of the mash basket. So I'll show you how to put all this together in a few seconds. Next, instruction book, and that comes in English and Deutsch version. Alright, let's assemble the mash basket. Bottom filter is the one with no clips, the little standoff clips on it. Bottom filter, you just fit the pipe through, screw the nut on the bottom. Note that the filter's rim turns downwards relative to the basket. So you just do finger tight, that's all you need. It's going to hold steady right there. Once you've got it fitted, let's stick it into the barrel. Yeah, just like this. It slides right down, and the little downturned rim fits against a rim inside the barrel here. Okay, at this point is the point where you would then stick the handle in and drop your mash basket into the water. Okay, so now let's slide this into the kettle. The basket will go straight into the kettle, very smooth. You want to make sure that oh yeah, that's right. I put the filter on the ball valve. So, oh, and you don't have to worry about the mash basket actually touching anything down there in the bottom. Once we've slid this directly in, the kettle's upper rim rests on the rests that are also designed to handle the little three-stage draining rests. These big steel bars here, that's the rests I'm talking about. All right, pull the handle. You're now ready to put the cap in the top of the pipe and add your grain. It's resting cleanly on the sides, and you're good to go. Okay, interior of the unit is graded starting at 30 liters, 8 gallons, all the way to 65 liters, 17 gallons. I absolutely do not recommend you do a full wort boil at 65 liters. I mean, if you can kind of see here the distance between the 65 liters and the top of the kettle, you'd be begging for a boil over. Headspace between the 65-liter mark and the top of the unit is just not enough to handle the hot break of a rolling boil wort, and you'll make a mess. So max should probably be about 60 liters. Safer would be 55. That said, even if you've gone safe, don't ever leave the unit unattended, regardless of the volume in it. Even if you only got like 30 liters going, don't leave it alone. Cleaning up a boil over on this thing is going to be a real bear. Before turning on the pump, let's not forget to attach the sparging arm. That'd be quite a big oops. Okay, just clamp down the handles and check the valve to ensure it's in the proper position. Up, down is open, sideways is closed. Now I've added about 40 or 41 liters of water here. My groundwater temperature is about 10 degrees C, which is 50 F. First time measurement will be to get to 50 C, 122 Fahrenheit. After that, I'll do the time to reach 65 C, which is 150 Fahrenheit, and then to a boil. Okay, moment of truth. We're plugged in, ready to turn on. I really strongly advise that when you're loading the unit with water, you don't even plug it in until you're ready to turn it on. And if you should have a spill, the first thing you do is flip the wall switch or pull the plug. So I haven't turned on the valve yet. All right, let's go turn that valve on. You can see the pump is bubbling here, and once I get around this other side of the unit, let me turn this open. All right. Obviously you can't hear it, but it's good, easy flow. We can manipulate the flow very, very easily with that valve. The pump keeps running. The valve is really, really easy to adjust total flow. Okay, a ball valve, the outlet for the unit. I didn't mention this. Really solid piece of work. It's also got this cool little retention clip. It's not high tech or anything. Just easily locks the valve open or closed when it's left alone. Also worth noting is that the valve is a 13 millimeter diameter, so if you want to attach a hose, 13 millimeters the diameter. Okay, control circuitry is really nice. It's got a reasonably pleasant little ring alert. Press to alter values, hold down to speed forward or back. It's also got a recipe memory for different mashes, although I haven't figured out how many total recipes it has storage for. I haven't found a reference for that yet. There's also a manual function if you want to take direct control of your steps. As I mentioned before, the burner is controlled through the board, so you can set it from 100 to 3,000 watts output. Very useful if you're going to be working with something that can scorch easily. Timer can be set for 1 to 180 minutes. And as you can see, it can go pretty quickly through the numbers when you're just holding it down. Okay, let's heating, you can kind of see here, heating goes pretty quick at the start. It goes a little slower when you're up high, but not all that much difference. We're going to go for a specific temperature target shortly. We're dealing with 40 liters, of course, remember, it's about 10.5 gallons, so it might look a little slow, but that's actually really good. Notice here that the floor of the unit uses only the center of the floor when we're going for a specific target. When we aim for a boil, it'll use the entire floor. Alright, we're going to wait for this thing to crank up to 50, then we're going to do to 65, and then we're going to go to a boil after that. It takes about 45 minutes to reach 50°C, which is right now. It has a little ringing alarm. You got to press the auto button to dismiss that alarm. So looks like perhaps once you get the water in and the mash basket in and start the heater, that'd be a good time to grind your grain bill. I think it would also be good to point out here that the neoprene jacket helped, and leaving the lid off during the heating hurt. This is point number one where I'd favor buying the jacket along with the kettle. Also worth noting is that using a standard mercury thermometer, it held a consistent temperature with what the electronics read out. Okay, it then took 20 minutes to go from 50 to 65°C. I've just set it to head for boiling, and the whole floor activated. Also, I'm going to turn off the pump since running the hot water up the external channel and out the arm will lose energy that I don't need to spend. I've heard that temperature consistency can be a challenge with these, so in this particular case it was not. 50°C is 50°C. Here I'm just immersing my chiller to sanitize it and get it in there with the boil. Now for newcomers to these all-grain units, it's really worth pointing out that with a unit like this you want to only add enough water to get your mash done. Here I'm just sterilizing my work chiller, don't worry about that. For newcomers to all grain in these electric units, it's worth pointing out that with a unit like this, you want to only add enough water to get your mash done. Don't volume up your entire planned work volume. You'll end up adding more volume than your unit has. And when you add your grain, you'll overspill and you probably electrocute yourself. You can top up after the mash. Please, just trust me on that. If you wonder why I'm suggesting it, it's because I'm American and I lived through a period of time when people started to buy deep fryers for their turkeys for Thanksgiving. So just go check YouTube for deep fried turkey fails. You'll see what I'm talking about. Now in this case here, what you're looking at is I put some PBX cleaner in the system in order to run it for 20 to 30 minutes. This will expose cleaner to all the internal piping and the insides of the pump and anything that can come into contact with my wort, hopefully getting rid of anything that can give the beer a bad flavor. Normal operation will bring this unit up to 100°C, and that'll kill any organic critters that might be planning interference. But I want to get rid of any remaining lubricants or oils from the factory and the manufacturing process cleaned out. After this, I'll drain it and I'll run it with clean water for 10 minutes to rinse. After that, I'll keep it closed and put a plastic garbage bag or something over it to keep the dust out. You should probably perform a cleaning after every batch you make. Actually, not probably, you just should before you put the unit away. Though you don't have to make it quite as strong a dose of cleaner as in the first run. Probably 10 liters of water with a proper dose of cleaner for 10 minutes while you move the fermenter into its resting place, followed by 5 minutes of rinse. That should be enough. Sorry about the fuzzy quality here. I got some steam on my camera. Now I've mentioned I'd have a couple more points about that neoprene jacket. Stainless is an excellent conductor of heat. Considering the amount of power it takes to heat this amount of water or wort and the amount of time involved, it'll probably save you 20 cents to a couple of bucks every batch, depending upon how much your power costs to have this jacket on the unit. That's a good second point. That'll save you money. Point 3 is one of safety. This unit may be really solid, but as I mentioned, stainless is an excellent conductor of heat. And that means if you or a family member or a pet brushes up against it, you could get hurt. I can comfortably rest my hand on that jacket when the unit is at full boil, and that says a lot for both its safety value and its insulation quality. After a year or two, that jacket will pay itself off in power cost alone for me, and although I can't predict accidents, I can say it'll prevent any from happening which would occur from contact with the sides. So in summary, this thing runs cleanly, smoothly. It operates exactly as I'd expect. It takes a while to reach temp for this larger volume, but that's okay. I bought this to do a big job, and it'll handle a smaller batch even faster. Given that it did 40 liters pretty fast, I'm really happy with that. And consider that against making 2 batches in a 30-liter unit, I'm really happy with that. The electrics are good. The controls make a reasonable amount of sense. It's easy to enter values and make adjustments. In short, this 3XL unit is, in my opinion, a great buy. It's got everything I want in a mash to boil unit. I'm itching to brew my first batch in it. I definitely would recommend it to folks who are experienced grain brewers or even beginners alike who want a vessel that'll handle small and large batches alike. I'm really excited to get brewing here. Something else to consider here, figure out how you're going to get rid of all that spent grain. I've already ordered over 50 kilograms of grain to work with, and there's only so much garden I can compost for. I've heard chickens really love spent grains and pigs too, so if you know any farmers or local neighbors who might want them, get in touch early. Another thing to think about, my water here is pretty hard. We've got like 285 parts per million of mostly temporary hardness in the water here. So you need to consider that for your mashes, and maybe cut your local water with some distilled, or maybe add some minerals to get your values right for the beer you intend to make. I'm going to have to also decalc my machine every so often because I'm sure flakes of this stuff is going to end up in the pump and the pipe if I don't. Oh yeah, and last thing I should mention is it took a little bit of calibration to get it adjusted to what a boil meant. The original value that this thing thought boiling was 94.7 C, so it needed a little correction. By pressing both the plus and minus buttons together for about 10 seconds, that gave me the option to enter the additional 5.3 C adjustment, which was then accepted and became the 100 C for the rolling boil I had going. Real easy. Just it was one thing that needed to be done. So if you choose to buy one of these and you've got it at home, you definitely want to do an adjustment with it and do a calibration run with just water while you're cleaning it. It'll get you familiar with the unit in a harmless environment and let you be aware of what's going on with the thing before any potential hazards with your brew, because you don't want to risk your beer. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'll leave you to finish off. First off, I'll say thank you for having stuck with me this whole time, and I appreciate your watching. I'm also going to hope you have happy brewing, and if you do choose to buy one of these things, stick it in the comments. Let me know what your experience was and how everything went. I'll put in a little dose of what the pump sounds like as a finisher here, and I'll be all done. So thanks again. Have a great set of brews, and best of luck.